I was a janitor and lived rent-free in the janitor's closet. I worked as a janitor in a school. There was a dedicated janitor's closet which was quite spacious. After I had finished vacuuming all the classes in the afternoon, I had to turn the security system on and leave within a minute. There was a caveat though. The front gate and the dedicated janitor closet were exempted from the motion cameras. I couldn't justify or afford spending half of my paycheck a week for what should be a human right. Shelter. So I did what I had to do and simply lived in that closet. I saved over $20,000 in rent. I installed a mini fridge and an air fryer and had quite the time. The contract got changed so I lost that gig. I feel a bit bad for freeloading off the school. But the government can provide insulated sheds to all of its citizens for a few billions but would rather spend much more on war and overinflated salaries for its oligarchs. I wouldn't do it again. Best commute ever though. Every 80s movie ever. Were you saving money to look for your parents who lost you at the Grand Canyon? If I was single when I worked at Google in South Lake Union as a janitor, I'd probably do the same. They had free food in every floor including drinks, free breakfast and lunch services. They had a game room with all the consoles, music rooms with instruments, a big-ass shower and locker room. And they even had sleep pods. I thought to myself a lot that if I wasn't married I'd probably just start living there. No one ever questions why a janitor is somewhere. Once you were in the closet, were you able to leave afterward? If you wanted to go out somewhere? Or once you were in, were you stuck in all night? Smart move. I've actually thought abandoned schools should be turned into subsidized housing for people. So good on you. Man, if I didn't already have a home and a family, I could save so much money doing this. My office is the old matron's apartment. I have 3 rooms, a full bathroom, kitchen and laundry. No one else in the building is even aware it exists. And I like to keep it that way. Mostly it's handy for naps at work and rolling into work still in my pajamas. Then showering and getting dressed before I make my way upstairs an hour or 2 into the day. As a taxpayer, I don't care. You ain't hurting anyone. Was it a thing back in the day where building maintenance men would live in the boiler rooms in the basement of the buildings? Cot, fridge, etc. The airport janitor in Die Hard 2 had himself a nice little setup. Lol, sounds like a Disney gimmick or something. Congrats on coming out of the closet in the end. I hope everyone took it well enough. What was the shower hygiene situation? What was the pay? When I worked at a car dealership, one of our detailers would forget to turn in a set of keys at the end of his shift, then return at night to sleep in one of the cars. He got caught when the police noticed a car running in the lot at night one day when it was below 0. He wasn't even fired. I still think about that 20 years later. All you need is a cheaper 24 hours fitness center membership where you can shower and work out, and this sounds kinda okay. What did you sleep on? Did you hide your home things during the day? Do you suspect anyone knew? Honestly, that sounds so smart. I'm glad you were able to do that. The world is so expensive at the moment. Nor. You made do for your situation. Times can be tough and you didn't hurt nobody. Janitors and teachers are unsung heroes of our society. Thank you for your service. Not fun cleaning after teens and kids. Also, one of my fave lines from Half Baked is when Dave's character corrects people calling him janitor and says it's custodian. Dick. You did what was necessary at the time. I'd have done the same thing. I don't care what anyone says. You win at life. That would have been awesome. No rent. No electric bill. No heating bill. No drive to from work. Curious that were there not other janitorial staff. Would think they or other school staff would have complained. Professor Chang. I feel a bit bad for freeloading off the school. But the government can provide insulated sheds to all of its citizens for a few billions. Don't need to feel too bad if you weren't costing him anything or much. That being said, the government can't just house everyone for a few billion. Land use housing issues is very complicated. City governments spend hundreds of thousands of dollars per unit for homeless shelters. It's not as easy as you think. Good. Fuck the BlackRocks, Vanguards, and the landlords who are inflating rent sky high. Joe Dirt. The real question here is whether you had to fight the previous janitor for that sweet rent-free closet. Doing what you need to do to beat poverty isn't unethical. Capitalism is. Many schools in my country provide the maintenance man with a cottage to live in so that he will be available at any time of the day night. Seems like you just found an alternate to that tradition. Good on ya. Makes me wonder about how institutions could actually build small apartments on the premises and offer a live-in deal. Maybe like I guy the first met who lived in a small building at the entrance to a cemetery. And who did some upkeep as part of his rent. Where did you get laid? Joe Dirt. LOL reminds me of Joe Dirt, scene with Christopher Walken. Not a bad way to get by though fr. These comments, humanity is just Sir FKD. We deserve whatever is FKN headed this way. Truly. Joe Dirt. You did what you had to do. Sounds kinda fun. You are a legend. Don't feel bad about it. Reminds me of that one episode of Growing Pains with Leonardo DiCaprio. You couldn't have company though, homies or women. What did you do at weekends? You live in a boiler room. Joe, I got a couple places. Nowadays live building caretakers are a real thing. Rudy. Could you do an armor? I really hope someone makes this into a movie. If I had enough coins I'd give you an award. Yes. Let's all live in small sheds provided by the government because the freeloading janitors don't know how to rent apartments. How should shelter be a human right? Were you becoming gay every time you came out of your home? You a good man but not sure what human right shelter is. It's no big deal. Not like you cost them anything significant. I think what you did was practical and smart. But shelter is only a human right if you gather the materials and build it yourself. Yay. A majority of those people don't deserve insulated sheds. You need help. Nice one. You are so right. Basic human needs before war. Space travel and billionaires' funds. Sickening. 20 grand is a nice saving and really you were providing overnight security. Did you spend that money on insulated sheds for others?